What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to O'Leary's Garden, where life is a garden. Um, so in the past couple of videos on this plumbing, I've mostly been goofing off here on what will eventually be a homestead. I wanted to take a time in this video to give the people who are looking for more of an informational video that what they were looking for, and more of a step-by-step and details and what is going on here. So there's not a whole lot that you need to know. These kind of projects can be intimidating if you're not used to doing these kinds of things, but they're not hard and you can do it. All you really need to know for this type of stuff is, one, the way water works. Two, you need to know how to measure and cut and glue pipe. That's pretty much it. So we'll start with the water. This is a chicken. Oh. So water, like electricity, always wants to go to ground. Water, any liquid, wants to make is greatly affected by gravity, and it wants to go to the lowest point possible. So wherever your main reservoir starts, whatever's going to hold this water that you want to get to some other point, you need to make sure it's higher than the ending. So the A needs to be higher than B. Okay? Now you can go up if you have to. Water will do it. It will always sit level. So if you're going up, just like we look at this here, the level in this bucket will always be the same as the level in this bucket. So where you send your pipe up, the level will always be the same. So if you send your pipe up like this, the water will never go higher than the level is in this main reservoir, this main tank. Okay, so if you want to get water from here over into this bucket, you're going to need a pump. You're not going to be able to gravity feed that unless you go like this. If you go straight across like that, it'll be fine. Or you can go down, which is what we did here. We buried some of the pipe. Okay, and now it's going to act as one tank. So whatever level is in this tank will be the same in that tank. Cool? Alright. So I'm still having some problems here. I'm not sure exactly what happened, because this was filling very, very slowly. And now I've just got home from work, and I'm getting some drippage out of the side of the bucket here. You can see that's kind of wet. There, it's dripping there. And I'm not sure why, because the water was sitting at the level of that pipe there. So I'm not sure what changed. Like I said, I'm an electrician, not a plumber. So, these fine-tuning things, I'm not sure how to fix it. But I got this in here, and the chickens have water, no problem. I'll figure that out, and when I have an answer for you, I'll let you know. So while we're in here, I'm going to talk to you about the pipe. Some of you know this, some of you don't. You can see all the purple stuff there at the joints. That's called primer. Now with electrical conduit, you don't need that, because it's not meant to be airtight. It's not holding pressure. It's not holding a liquid. Water can be tricky. It can find its way out of some, well, as you see with that bucket, it'll find its way out if it wants to. So what the primer does, the primer starts the breakdown process of the PVC. It starts to soften up that plastic so that you get a more even seal and a more even bond between your conduit and whatever pipe right? Pipe. It's plumbing, so it's pipe. Electric is conduit. So you get a better bond between your pipe and whatever fitting you're connecting it to. So you put your primer on first, put it on nice and even, and then you glue. You always do both sides. So if you're doing a coupling, think of it as a male and a female end. You do the inside and you do the outside of your pipe. And the same goes for the glue. All right? Let's go out to the tank. And then I'll talk you through A to B. Okay, so here we have a 350 gallon IBC tote that was used to store mulch colorant. If you can find something that carried something closer to a food, an edible, food safe, food grade deal, then I would recommend it. Now this mulch colorant on the SDS is a 100. It's a 1 for health, and an O for environmental, and an O for whatever the other one is. I'll have to do a little more research into that to tell you more about it. But I've soaked these things for 2 weeks in anything, well, not anything, these two things. I use Dawn dish soap, and then I use baking soda to try and neutralize the water. And I've got the water coming out. It's crystal clear. It smells fine. There's no color coming off of it. Anything left in a tank, I think, is just bonded to the plastic. I am not worried. And the research that I did said that it was fine. I would not drink it myself, but it should be okay for the chickens. And worst case scenario, I will filter it. I'm still working out the details. I have 3 other tanks over here that will eventually be connected into the system one way or another. So, like I was saying about water, always wants to go down. Here at the bottom, these things come with a 2-inch valve. And what you can see is I use this adapter. This is a 2-inch FFA, they call it a female adapter. So this end is threaded and this end is not. It's a slip connector, which you would glue. For your threaded connections, you want to wrap it in Teflon tape. And then this, I don't know the exact words for this one. It's just a reducer from 2-inch down to 1-inch, where I came in and stubbed to this 4-way. All right. And you want to make sure you prime and glue every joint. So now we've got a 90 here that comes up to a 3/4. In electric, we would call this a TA, a threaded adapter. I'm not sure what they call it in the plumbing world. And that goes right to a hose spigot. Now you can see all the pressure that comes off of this thing. Let me get out of the way. It's not crazy, but it's enough. It's enough to get it up there. Now one problem, okay, let me slow down. So then I brought it out of that 4-way. I came to 2 90s and went down on the ground, and I buried it all the way over here and 90'd up again to this check valve. Now I had to lower this because, as you can see, let me move again, like I showed you in that drawing. This levels in this tank are only going to sit up about here, and it's not that much higher than this, so there's not a whole lot of pressure. And that check valve needs like a 1/2 pound. What does it say? It doesn't say. A 1/2 pound of pressure, of water pressure, to open the valve and allow water to flow through and go up. Now I had it up here, and it was too close to the level in the tank. So if you're gonna do a check valve, I would put it as low as possible. It gives you the maximum amount of pressure, but it will still do the job because these components will still never go without water. They can't drain unless you make them. So here we come up to a T to this valve, which I added because soon we'll put a couple of rabbit hutches out here, and that they will be fed in a very similar way to the chickens. They'll just be a different style of nipple. And this, when you open this valve, will drain the bucket inside only a little because it's still fighting the pressure from the tank. But because the check valve is down low here, if there was not enough pressure in the tank, it would drain the bucket. Well, as much as possible, because this is the top of the bucket here. So it would only drain the bucket down to the bottom of this pipe here. That's as far as it'd be able to go. All right. And we'll go back in, and I'll show you the rest. These again are the Uni Seals, right? Comes right into a valve so that I can shut off feed into this system. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe if we set this, maybe if we close this a touch, maybe it'll stop the leaking. I don't know. So it comes into this. This is called a Gamma Seal lid. It's supposed to hold under pressure, but who knows? I'm still learning too, folks. So the water comes in that pipe, which you saw right on the other side of the wall, comes to 90 right into the wall. And then down here at the bottom, I wanted this at the bottom so, you know, if the level in this bucket drops, they still have water. But it's only going to work to here, because this is going to set the level in the bucket if it drains. You know what I mean? Just like I showed you there, if the water's down here, it can't get up here. So the level in this bucket always has to be higher. And then from there, it just runs down to these little nipples for the chickens to drink from, and a valve down at the end for a clean out and to drain if these leak, because I had a hell of a time getting these things to work. Let's talk about that while you're here. If you're interested in doing this kind of system, to put these into your pipe, you need an 11/32 drill bit. I tried it with 3/8 and I tried it with 5/16. It has to be 11/32. With the 3/8, it's too small and they won't start to thread at all. And with the 5/16, it's just too big that you can only get the fattest of the threads to get in there, and it doesn't grip enough for them to really seal. So you have to use an 11/32 and Teflon tape. Tape the threads. Some people will go through and tap it afterward. They'll drill it with the 11/32 and then run a thread tap into it. I did not. I just hit it with the Teflon tape and threaded them directly into the pipe, and none of them have leaked since I did that way. I brought this down to 3/4 inch pipe because I was having so much problem with the leaking. I thought that bringing it down to 3/4 would put less pressure on these. I could be wrong about how that works. I was thinking with 1 inch pipe there's more water back there, which would be more like foot-pounds of pressure on the threads. Made sense to me. I'm okay with being wrong. Just tell me so. You won't hurt my feelings. Still trying to figure out what's going on in here. I really have no idea. I wonder if it's just the lid. If the lid is pushing the water up to a point where it's sneaking up behind this thing, this rim. I can't tell. I don't know. I don't know. Don't have the answer for you on that one. Anybody that's thinking about doing this type of thing, I hope that this helped you. If you have any, look, like I said, I'm not a genius, but if you have any more questions, I will do my best to answer them for you. Just let me know. All right. Okay, bye.